Buenas tardes, yo soy Hermann Pais.
Good afternoon. My name is Hermann Pais, and I'm marketing manager of my company in Brazil. Do you prefer me to speak in English? Okay, then I'm going to speak in Portuñol, mixed Portuguese with Spanish. So today I'm going to discuss how do we innovate. How do we manage to orient cultures and processes in a company so that we manage to innovate, to invent, and to create new things every day? Firstly, I'm going to speak about Activate, which is a software that is available for you all and could help you to make easier to enter Amazon Cloud from a financial point of view, and can also help you create bots and concept tests for clients. Then I'm going to talk about the culture, the approach, and finally 10 easy steps to innovation. Firstly, the Activate software. Here you see the site, AWS, Amazon.com/Activate is the program we have for all enterprises that are starting operation for startup, but it is also available for companies that have existed for many years. The difference is only the level of support that we offer. So you create an account with AWS, and then you will find a free tier, which is very limited. But if you give us a little more information, you will find a package that is called Self-Starter. And this package for beginners will allow you to have access to training, certification, courses, help of mentors, $1,000 credits, and also to get in touch with our architects and ask them for help and support in very detailed aspects of infrastructure. And this is important when you start putting into practice an ERP like SAP or machine learning, or things such as private clouds, CDN, content distribution, and other advanced matters for which we have architects that are available, and if you register, they can, and you give us some more information, they can help you. The seventh level is portfolio, which gives you up to $100,000. If you are an enterprise that qualifies for portfolio, you can receive this credit if you have especially an accelerator or an incubator. But given the importance of GeneXus in the system, GeneXus was one of our first integrators, of our first partners in technology, among the independent software vendors that work with us. It was one of the first companies in Latin America, and when we started operating here in 2011 and we opened the first data center in Brazil, GeneXus was already supporting us, and it had an ecosystem that was very strong with more than 65,000 GeneXus applications that run on Amazon. That is why we are extending this software also to the companies supported by GeneXus. So GeneXus is like an accelerator, and this is how we're going to treat it. And the companies that GeneXus brings us will also be treated like accelerators. So you can register, and we do the rest. The self-starter is automatic step, and myself and Renata, etc., will be tomorrow at the GeneXus stand for the solution partners on the 4th floor if you want to come and talk to us and know the program in more detail. Now I'm going to speak about innovation. Amazon is very well known for its site, which was created 20 years ago. July 20th was the Prime Day, the day of the Amazon client, because that was our anniversary. We started from scratch and we created the whole infrastructure that today supports, on Black Friday of last year, 175 million sales in one day. And that was just for Amazon. I'm not counting Amazon's clients. In Brazil, on Black Friday, one of our clients called Bcash, which is a credit card, or rather a company that issues credit cards, not issues, that collects the money for credit cards, made 40,000 transactions per hour based on Amazon in Brazil. We are known for our side, but also for what we are doing in the world of logistics, innovations, invention, robots, and other things that are innovations. Right now, we have Amazon Prime Now, which gives you 1 hour, or takes 1 hour from the moment of you place your order until you get your package, or Amazon Fresh, which is in the business of fresh food in less than 1 hour. And in many cities in the US, there are specific sites, for example, Woods and Zappos for shoes, and Amazon Prime Video. And Amazon started with a new innovation, which is Amazon TV, and now it has Alexa, which is the Amazon Echo, which is a tube that speaks with you and through spoken commands responds and reacts. Others have been around for more than 10 years. All this is driven, he said drivado, which is neither Portuguese nor Spanish. It's driven then by technological innovation. This is the engine for innovations, and the innovation comes from our culture. Amazon culture requires and fosters invention and innovation, how to invent and how to simplify, and not only in Brazil but also to simplify from the point of view of the client. How can I turn our customers' life easier, as well as their company? How can we make them more competitive? That is our obsession. Our obsession is you, or work in order to make much better your life and work. You are customers. Jeff Bezos says, I think frugality drives innovation. That is a difficult word to translate. Frugality means to work with few resources, or with no resources, because as Jeff says, when you don't have resources, the only way in which you can fill a closed box is to invent a way of getting out of the box. And we did this because innovation and invention are part of our DNA. It is so strong, they are so strong in our DNA that the process of recruiting people to work with Amazon is analyzing whether this person has the culture or not. We can turn someone who has no knowledge and turn it into Amazon's culture, but we can also take people who already have this culture of obsession, of simplifying the customer's life. What is the methodology? Firstly, we work from the customer and we work backwards. I want the customer to have an experience, and the experience is that the customer can communicate with a device and speak with the device, and that's what I want. Then I will design the kind of experience I want the customer to have. Music, okay. Alexa, play Elton John, and then the device plays Elton John. Alexa, play Leonard Garden. So we start by designing what we want the customer to feel or experience, and as this should work, then we work the previous steps until we get to the engineering and the design. So the point of departure for us is always the customer. It's never technology. Oh, we have 425 cores processor, and I think, what am I going to do with this? It's not how it works with Amazon. And we also have a narrative process. And Amazon started with books, so we hired writers. All of us have to have very good writing skills. We like to write. Everything is written. We don't use PowerPoints or slides, we use words. And we are nerds too. So sometimes we use Emacs or VI because it's English, and English doesn't have accents, primitives. We divide a big problem into small pieces until every small piece can be analyzed by a small team, a team fed by 2 pizzas. We call it the 2 pizzas team. If 2 pizzas are not enough to feed the team who is working on a problem, either the problem is too large or it hasn't been defined properly. It has too many objectives and it won't work. So primitives. The primitives are the building blocks of the services. And that's another aspect of our methodology. And since the team is small and feeds with 2 pizzas, they have to solve one problem only. Coming back to Alexa, the team had to solve the problem of understanding English. So if you have the opportunity of analyzing Amazon Echo, Echo hardly speaks English, but the English it speaks is extremely good. When they start speaking the other languages, they will also be very proficient at speaking them. And then we cannot mistake all this for development. We have to make incremental releases and measurements all the time, and we also need interaction. We release our stocks actually several times a day. And this happens with Amazon's and also with SWS, but without breaking the software and the system. And there's a whole methodology that allows us to do it. And this is one of the keys of our success. That is to say, the developer is responsible for the whole site up to the operation. It's not a methodology that starts with design, and he's not the one who does the deploy and the debugging and the implementation, and he's not responsible for the operation. All of the developers have responsibility throughout the cycle, and this works in the same manner everywhere in Amazon. An organization that works in this way is NASA. Everybody believes that man landed in the moon. Okay. Before the landing, there were 30 missions that did not succeed, and 50% were a big failure. Of course, we don't have the kind of money that NASA used to have at the time. But precisely, this is one of the points that turned the failure into a success. They decreased the cost of failing, and that is one of the reasons why they finally succeeded. And this is a very strong statement by Henry Ford. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. It's a learning process. In Amazon, we value failures greatly. It's good to succeed, but failing and learning is even better. Failure that is very popular is the Amazon Fire Phone, which was a complete disaster from every point of view. But this Fire Phone was the product that led to Alexa, the Amazon Echo. And the Echo is revolutionizing from healthcare and help to disabled people who are unable to move because it responds to voice commands, up to robotic automation. Because with the toolkit that we have just announced for Alexa, it can be used not only for companies that manufacture light switches, but for anyone who wants to use voice commands for other solutions. In 1997, when Amazon became a public company, almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago, three things were said. It's all about the long term. Our vision is always a long-term vision. We are not interested in this quarter or this fiscal year. Our interest is to create a company that will last for a long time. After 10 years, during which Amazon had no profits at all, Amazon achieved a high profit. And they asked the CEO what happened, and he said, well, it was a mistake because I didn't reinvest enough in the business. So that's his philosophy. And secondly, this focus, this tireless obsession of focusing on the client. All this requires tools that accelerate invention and experimentation, and also the belief that failures won't bring bad consequences. These are several domains in which Amazon Corporation is innovating, from robots, and we have just got authorization to use the drones in rural zones, because drones, of course, cannot be used in rural areas. The Fire OS, which started with the Fire Phone, which was a big failure, although we are proud of it, and now is the main engine of Amazon Echo, the Kindle, which is in its 7th generation, the in-house entertainment, which started with Amazon TV, and now Amazon TV also responds to voice commands, grocery delivery, which is in 10 cities in the US, and is being launched in other countries too, and in Brazil we already have it too. Video streaming, cloud computing, and AWS is one of the subproducts of Amazon. And everything that is cross-site shopping and behavioral analytics. It's not me who says it. This is something I heard from someone from research who is in charge of research and development and marketing. Amazon created a new department in marketing which is called behavioral marketing and behavioral analytics. And the area of neuromarketing was born from these ones. That is to say, understanding better what the customer wishes and how our feelings, our emotions work, and how is that we make decisions when we want to buy something. And AWS is the platform for innovation that Amazon has. Without any doubt, it's a platform that comprises 50 families of products, and several times a year we launch new announcements. This year, by July, we were in 350, and I believe that right now we are above 500, and we'll make 700 announcements or so by the end of the year in this 50 family of products. And many of them are delivered daily. There are like 5 or 7 new things every day, and this is incremental change. We do it all the time, what we are teaching you, innovate and continue inventing without waiting for a specific date. We believe that this approach can be replicated, and we have 5 very simple themes. Firstly, focus on your customers, because without the customers, which is the one that pays and the one that consumes and the one that chooses, there's no tomorrow. And we don't focus on state-of-the-art technology, but on the customer and the benefit that technology is going to bring the customer. We are ultra nerds, ultra geeks, but geeks that think all the time how the technology we use is going to improve the life of people and how it's going to be used. Then experiment frequently. Every day, all the time, we have to innovate, invent, and try new things. And we are beta-driven. The focus is also obsessive with regard to data, measuring, quantifying, and trying things with data. The experiments we make, try them with the data, then move fast and be nimble, and also foster leadership. Leadership exists in every area in our company. Amazon has a completely flat structure. It's like Montevideo, right? It's completely flat, no mountains, and that's Amazon's structure. There are 120,000 employees and only 6 leaders. So it's very difficult to achieve a company like this one, so flat. Then, when we do a press release, we start with what do we want the products to say. I'm sorry, I wrote all this in English. Amazon has the power of announcing the launch of its product, voice-activated machine learning. The benefit of this product will be that any technology can be connected with a natural voice with any other technology. Therefore, you can use any voice in 36 languages with 8 regional accents in Spanish, the accent from Madrid and the Mexican accent, and the accent from Cuba, which is impossible to understand except by Alexia, and Uruguayan Spanish, and then Portuñol, which is the Spanish that Brazilians speak. So I can imagine this press release, and I wonder, why does the customer care? Why is this worthwhile for the client? Why is the customer take time to design something that speaks with this machine? So before we start, we have to answer what this is useful for, what benefits it will bring, what functions it will have, what interfaces it will have, what is the API like. So we think of the customer, and only after having developed all these thoughts, someone starts to define this new development. And then customer focus defines your business model. This diagram was supposedly written by the CEO in a napkin in a restaurant. And it says exactly this. Growth comes from having the lowest cost structure possible. I have to be very low price, because low prices will allow me to give a better customer experience. The customers are happy when they pay low prices every day. And why do we get better customers' experiences? Because we bring a lot of people to our site or to our business, and this traffic allows us to attract more sellers. Why not? I have a traffic of people who come to my site, and I don't have the capability to deliver everything they want because there are so many companies in the planet that manufacture these things. Then I have to create a marketplace, and this marketplace is a selection of companies that sell in our site, and the products will be better selected, we will have a greater selection, and this will improve the customer experience, this will lead to more traffic and more sellers ad infinitum. So this is a virtuous circle on which we work. We have a marketplace in Amazon.com because we have several vendors that supplies the goods, and then in AWS we also have a marketplace. They are working on the security channel, and our products are ready to use, are sold by others. And Vietnamese has WordPress servers that can be configured in a few seconds. Our marketplace has more than 2,500 different types of machines, so that the customer experience can be better and the traffic increases and we have more sellers. And this is the value of GeneXus, for example. GeneXus brings us more people and more traffic and more automation and a tool that is easier to use. So again, this is a virtuous circle in which we are, and also GeneXus and Oracle and SAP and Microsoft and all those who participate in this business. So this is Amazon's business model 20 years later. Some very important things. If you want to improve the quality of innovation, you lower the cost of failure. In the traditional IT world, implementing a server would cost millions of dollars, but in the world of cloud computing, depending on the time of the day, etc., it could cost really very little. And also embrace failure. Failure is a reason to improve. And Albert Einstein said, our theories determine what we measure. So those who are analytical or are beta-driven should be obsessed by these measurements. You should do comparative tests. I work in marketing, and I should carry out, for example, an email campaign or develop a new software, and we always have two versions and we compare the two of them, which one is better, which one is more stable. And in the case of the email, which is the one that make people hit more, which is the page that increases the sales, which is the page that the customer prefers. In this case, it's the one on the left. They like white sides with a lot of space. You have to move fast and be nimble. As I said, 2 pizza teams. If a team cannot be fed by 2 pizzas, then the scope has been wrongly defined, or the team has too many people. And Amazon teams throughout the company have complete autonomy. So you who are users, imagine that the team that 2 days ago launched the S3IA, which costs almost the same price as Blazor, but has allowed us to lower this price. So this team is composed by less than 8 people, because in a pizza there are 8 slices. Each one would eat 2 pieces, so you have to be thin. If it were an American who's a bit fatter, it would have to be 6 people at most. And what is the secret ingredient? The leadership principles. All of us, when we join Amazon, no matter whether to join the company as an employee in a fulfillment center, which is in charge of putting products in a box, or someone who works in the cloud at 35,000 feet, everybody is considered a leader. And before coming to the company, we all need to think that way. And these are the principles. They are all on our side. So, firstly, customer obsession. This is self-explanatory. Ownership. Everybody owns the company. In the fact, because part of our payment of our salary is company stocks. We all need to invent and simplify. Amazon has more than 1,000 patents per year, which doesn't look like much compared to other companies. But we have several people in Amazon who invent for Amazon. It's Amazon inventors, and it's an honor to be an Amazon inventor. Another principle is I write a lot. People are right many times. Why? Because they have the data, they have the fundamentals, they have the subsidy. And it's related to this principle, dive deep. Dive deep in everything they do. They are not superficial. That is why we don't use PowerPoints, because PowerPoints are bullets. We use words with a notepad or whatever. Insist on the highest standards. But firstly, hire and develop the best. We all recruit for Amazon, and we are looking for people for the company all the time. Insist on the highest standards. The standards that are highest for us and for the rest. Think big. We think that something we do will have an impact that will go beyond the present time and beyond the actions we just did. Then bias for action. All the time we want to act. Thinking, of course, and diving deep, of course, and being right, of course, but we want to act. Frugality, do a lot with scarce resources, and then being vocally self-critical. That is to say, Amazonians don't think that they smell of roses. We all know that we are human and we make mistakes, and therefore we value humility in the company. And we have to earn the trust of others. We become trustworthy because we are right a lot, we dive deep, we are frugal, we act, we own the company. And then another principle, be curious, learn. This is one of the newest principles. After 14 years, this principle was added 2 months ago. Have backbone, disagree and commit. Any of us, if we don't agree with Jeff, we can go and tell him, I don't agree. And we can argue because we dive deep and because we have arguments and we are right a lot. And then we commit with the results. And of course, the results are important because without results, without delivering them, we cannot do anything. These are principles and this is our culture. Renata asked me, where do we do all this? Every company we want to help them develop also their culture and to be closer to the market, to be more nimble and more efficient. But again, the customer has to be first and the results are the last principle, because this is the consequence of what we do. And finally, keep your vision. Even and in spite of everything, during its 20 years of existence, Jeff had three visions that continue to prevail. Firstly, put the customer first, then invent, and thirdly, be patient, because we are in this for the long term. Thank you very much for your attention, and congratulations to GeneXus for having such an impressive group of people gathered here. And then I no longer stand between you and a dream.